It is actually really shocking when you hear politicians make such comments like what Fubara says, that he would rather not go back to the government house, that in fact his spirit has left there. That some of all these things that people are doing are just too ambitious, Left for him, he would rather be in church. Anyway, for a man, let's just remind you for a bit, for those who believe him, for a man who fought all the way through to the Supreme Court, and even when the Supreme Court released a judgment saying that, the conduct of the local government election was null and void, he stalled on that one. The fact that, the lawmakers are legitimately the lawmakers of the assembly, more or less basically reinstating them, because in his books there are no paid salaries and all of those things. So for a person who fought all the way to the Supreme Court, even allegedly, he said in an allegation, they said he was the one that destroyed the State House of Assembly because he doesn't want the lawmakers to sit, because if they had sat, they would have moved for his impeachment. So for somebody who has done all of these, and of course we have the protests. I'm not saying that he was the one that sponsors those protests, but of course there are forces, for crying out loud. For somebody who is of that level, he must have forces. We must have people who have been pushing him up until that point where the state of emergency was announced. Guy, he was even willing to fight further if that state of emergency was not even set in motion. He was willing to fight further. Remember, even after that judgment, they were still back and forth about presentation of the budget, or whether the assembly members were even willing to listen to him. And then, that back and forth that happened, he was willing to fight all the way to that point. All of a sudden, because the paraphernalia of power is no longer with him, he turns around to say that left for him, his spirit has left the government house. That is false. If you believe that at your own peril. And by the way, he's playing politics. Remember all of those as well. Let me also remind you about the story that he went to beg Wike. That was proposed on Premium Times, and that is actually well investigated. He also met with the president in London. Guy, he did all of these things, and all of a sudden he's saying that, look, he's not interested in going back to the government house. Come on. Tell that to the dogs. But guess what? I like the protests. Not the protest. I like the gesture, or I like the posturing he's taking. The posturing is that let him sell out the fact that he's not really interested in the house, and also put out the fact that he's not angry that he's still out of the government house, and also, mildly tell his supporters, tone it down a little bit, because he has been accused severally. Remember about the walking away thing that happened in Rivers State recently, that was against the wife of the president. Remember that, because everything is playing at the same time. So he was accused of that. Wike was the one that was pressing that button, that he was accused of sponsoring women who basically walked out on the president's wife. So that particular comment that he made ahead of time, that he made just yesterday, was just trying to put up a facade, put up a face that, look, I don't really care about the government house. If you want to move, take it safe. I don't really care. But trust me, these are politicians. You can't take their words for it. For the fact that he has come this far, there's nobody that wouldn't want to go back. Do you know how much governors control in terms of naira and kobo? Do you know how much is at their disposal, especially for rivers that is oil rich, and is one of the richest states in Nigeria, aside Lagos? The next state that is the most richest, it's not even Kano, it's not even Anambra, is Rivers. Rivers is the number 2 richest state in Nigeria. A governor is sitting on trillions of naira, and you come and say you're not interested. It's laughable, but I'm just giving you an overview. So this is how he's playing his cards, and it is good that he's playing it this way, so that there will be some sort of soft landing for those who have been really antagonistic against him, or trying to push some sort of narrative. He must have told his boys to step it down a little bit, tone it down a little bit. If you are the one that goes on TV or goes on radio, step it down a little bit, because I've already reached a certain truce. I've already reached a certain agreement. So between now and then, I don't want you guys to soft pedal. So nothing scuttles that agreement of some sorts. So that is exactly what he came to do on Sunday. So all these ones that he said he's not interested is false. He's very much interested, and for crying out loud, for those who have been supporting him, this is not the time to abandon him. Don't think he said that to annoy you, because I know a lot of people who are online who are really out for this particular man, who have been spending their monies to sponsor some certain posts, some certain people, to push narrative, in order to put him in the limelight and mount pressure on the government to change their mindsets regarding this. This is a time to actually support him. This is a time to continuously support him, even though maybe it's about time to step it down a little bit, because he has mentioned that it's also about time for you to also, keep an eye on him and endeavor that nothing happens to him. But, I really salute his courage. If there's anything to go by in terms of politics, he has actually done really well. If there's any recent fighter when it comes to politics, we could learn a thing or two from Fubara, and I just want to say a very big thank you to every one of you who tuned in to listen to my commentary. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
I've been going out quite all right, but speaking publicly after the event of March 18th, I've been a bit careful, because when I go for an event and the body language of the environment, if it's not in tune with what I believe in, I feel very unhappy, because for a lot of you here, you don't know what the situation is. It's not about Oshobe. It gets to a situation where Oshobe don't solve problem. That is the truth. So for that reason, I'm a bit careful. But this particular event is something I honestly cannot avoid. Paklak is a very special person to every one of us, and more especially to me. So I feel I'm indebted to him. Yes, I might have supported the burial program, but putting in my presence here is the most important thing. Before I go into the main business, because I found out that a good number of you deviated from the program today. The program is a tribute for Paklak. It's not an issue of Siminalayi Fubara. I am not disputing the message God gave to you, my bishop, but in this particular event, is a message to talk about Paklak. Because the way you hammered it, when they live here, that is not the way to be presented. It will be Siminalayi Fubara has gathered his supporters to make statements against the minister and the president. That is not what I need now. What I need now, even some of you, have you asked yourself, do you think I am even interested in going back there? I want to ask you, don't you see how better I look? Do you think I'm interested in it? If I have my way, I say it's here. This is an altar of God. I don't wish going back there. My spirit has left that place long ago. So all this, I want everybody to focus. Please. It's not everything you do. You think there's some fight you don't fight. There's some things you don't do, because you need to ask the person. Does he want it? I have peace. If you have known me, you've been seeing me, you can see I look better now. In as much as we have things that we need to do for our state, we know people have made sacrifice for us, and we, one way or the other, have to stand by them, does not mean that we should start firing without any target. We need to be focused. Our evening here is about Paklak. It's not Oshobe, it's Fubara, Oshobe, same place. I want that. And like I said, it's about Paklak. Every other thing that is said here, every other admonition by whoever is your personal view. It does not speak or does not present the purpose of this evening. I mean it, and I want you to quote me anywhere. We're here talking about the life of a man who lived a life of sacrifice. Amongst you, the women here, do you have forgiving spirit? Your hearts are bitter. You don't forgive. Those are the important things. We're here talking about a man who spent his own money to go to court for me. A man who gathered people to say, fight for Fubara. But some of you here, your hearts are dark. But one important thing, that you have your boarding pass. It's just you're waiting for the flight. So you need to retract your ways. What is special about Paklak? Maybe when he started his life, he might have made his own mistake like every one of us. But at a certain time in his life, he believed that I want to live a life, I want to dedicate my life for others. And he did it, and he did it well. I am a beneficiary of that. I've never met him one day. I spoke to him a few times on phone, but he stood by me. I've never gone until his death. The first time I stepped my feet into Paklak house was when I went for condolence. I never went to his house. But he stood by me. He supported what he believed in, injustice. And that is the man we are celebrating this night. It's celebration because he has gotten to the 9th floor. It's 90 something going to 100, is it not? In fact, if not for maybe the way it happened, it should even be entering. The 10th floor is the one, the cloud now, is it not? Once you enter 10, you're on the cloud, waiting for the chariot to come and carry you. But he was already close to that place because he lived a life, not life for himself, but life for others. So I want us this evening, that as we have gathered here to celebrate him, let us learn from him. Let us go with something. And that thing should be dedicating our life for things that are good. I once read about a very strong and powerful man. When he died, he said that all the physicians, the best, should carry his coffin. All his wealth, his gold, should be poured on the streets for them to walk on it. And that his coffin, they should make it in such a way that people will see his hands dangling, showing that he's living with nothing. This life, we have come into this life with nothing. In our birth, we are not celebrated. That is the truth. When we are celebrated, is in death. How many of us, both the ones here and the ones outside here, will pass on, and people will gather and say good things about them. That is the message. We should live a life that when we mention our names, when our names are mentioned anywhere, it opens doors for our children. It doesn't bring cost to our family. That is the choice I've made. That is the decision why, in whatever situation I find myself in this whole thing, I always tell those of you who want to listen, don't do things because you want to do them. Do the things I want. I am the one wearing the shoes. I know the solution to my problem. I know how to walk through my problem. There are some things you will do rather than bring peace for me. It spoils my peace process. It gives me problem. So I'm cautioning everybody here. I'm serious, and it's very important to say it here in the church so that it's not something I'm passing a message to anybody privately. Before you do anything that you claim you're doing for me, seek my consent. I said it before. Do you even know what I'm interested in this thing? My spirit has left this place. I'm already, my body parts, I have it already, but not I'm going to die now. I'm not going to die now. The reason is not that I'm too young to die or too old to die. I have a wife and I have kids that I need to bring up. They need me now more than ever. So when I finish that work and also finish the work of humanity, the aircraft can land. I will board gallantly. So let me thank everyone, more especially Senator Birabe, the chairman of this night of tribute, the chairman of Rivers Elders and his deputy and his vice chairman, and everyone. This is the most important thing. It is not any tribute writing that we are going to put in a paper. Is this sacrifice you're making? This memory will be forever. When we want to talk about him, the story will always be there. When Paklak died and his funeral was being arranged. In Rivers State, a night of tribute was held in his memory. And who are those people there? Your names will be mentioned. That is the most important thing. So I join every one of you to say that Paklak has done his work, but I can assure you that that shoe will be filled very well. In the Bible, Jesus was doing his evangelical job just between